श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्के केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्यो में सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. Swami Desikan's brilliant STOTRAM, Nyasa Dasakam and Nyasa Vimsati. Sri Veeravalli Swami has instructed Adiyan to talk one sloka a day during the Dhanur Maasam, covering Nyasa Dasakam, the 10 slokams in Nyasa Dasakam and 20 plus slokam on Nyasa Vimsati, both talking, narrating, describing essentially about the Sharanagati Tattvam, Prapatti, or the Bharanyasam, Nyasam. So, we have been enjoying the Avatarikai and the first slokam today. Yesterday. So today we will have the second slokam of Nyasa Dasakam. Sloka 1 was Aham Madrakshanabaro Madrakshanapalam Tata Na Mama Sripate Reveti Atmanam Nikshibet Bhutaha. We enjoyed that the first slokam covers the Swarupam of Prapatti, Swarupam of the Bharanyasam, Sharanagati. The Swarupam of Prapatti has got 3 parts: Swarupa Samarpanam, Raksha Bhara Samarpanam, Pala Samarpanam. Swarupa Samarpanam and Pala Samarpanam is for all Bhakti Yoga Vidyas who desires moksham. Swarupa Samarpanam and Pala Samarpanam is there. But Raksha Bhara Samarpanam has a special, unique position in Prapatti because it comes from, it sprouts from the fact that we are akinchanyam, we are helpless, we don't have any qualification to perform anything, any vidya. So, and we don't have any other refuge other than Sriman Narayana. So, Akinchanyam, being utterly helpless, being lowliest, and Ananya Gatitvam, having no other recourse other than Sriman Narayana. Upayantara Ashakti. So, therefore, Prapatti is called Bhara Samarpanam, basically. In all these 3 Samarpanam, Swarupa Samarpanam, Bhara Samarpanam, Pala Samarpanam, Sriyapati Sriman Narayanan is the means and he is the goal. And that's what we enjoyed last sloka. The first sloka, Aham Madrakshanabaro Madrakshanapalam Tata Na Mama Sripate Reveti Atmanam Nikshibet Bhutaha. In fact, in Nyasa Dasakam, there are 10 slokams. The first 3 slokams talk about the first section of Dvaya Mantra. The first Pratama Khandam, that is the first line of Dvaya Mantra. The 4th slokam covers the Pala Samarpanam. With the Pala Samarpanam connected with the second line of Dvaya Mantra, the Prapatti Mantra. In the next 5 slokam, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the whatever that we need to do or we should not do after performance of Prapatti, Sharanagati. After Sharanagati Anushtanam, Uttara Krityam, what we should do post Prapatti period in the life are described from Sloka 5 to Sloka 9. The 10th and final Slokam explains the liberty, the state of freedom from any concern, any apprehension, any worries about the protection. Nirbharo nirbhayosmi, no bharam, no bhayam any further by the person who has performed Sharanagati, who has performed Prapatti, named Prapannan. So that's what is talked about essentially in Nyasa Dasakam. We have today the second slokam. In the second slokam of Nyasa Dasakam, Swami Desikan describes Sri Varadaraja, the Perarulalan, as Sriman, like Dvayam. Dvayamantram essentially says Srimanana Narayanan Trivadigalil Kalayatra Nitya Kainkaryam Perigaikku Srimanana Narayanan Trivadigal Irandayum Sharanamaga Patragireen. In order to perform eternal service at the lotus feet of Sriyapati Sriman Narayanan, I surrender at the feet of Sriyapati Sriman Narayanan. That's the Dvayamantram in a crude English language. So here he states Sriman Atma Rakshabharam Tvayi Nyasyami. So the sloka says Nyasyam Akinchana Sriman Anukulo Nyavarjitaha Anukulaha Anyavarjitaha Vishwasa Prarthana Purvam Atma Rakshabharam Tvayi Nyasyam Akinchana Sriman Anukula Anyavarjitaha Vishwasa Prarthana Purvam Atma Raksha Bharam Tvayi. So that's the full slokam. Swami Desikan reminds the Lord that he has laid the total responsibility of his protection at the feet of Sarvaloka Sharanyan Perarulalan. Sriman, Sriyapati, Sriman Narayana, Varadaraja, Piratiyudan Kudiya Perarulaalane, Anukulaha, I will be Anukulan for you. And we will enjoy the individual meaning. What is the meaning of Anukula? Anyavarjitaha. I would not do anything that would cause displeasure for you. Anukulaha. I would do anything that would please you. Akinchanaha. I have no other qualification. I am utterly helpless. I am a destitute adiyan. Vishwasaha. Vishwasa. I have unflinching, unconditional faith. Prarthana Purvam. I'm praying. I'm putting a prarthana here. Prayer. Atma Rakshabharam. To protect me. Tvayi Nyasyami. Offering, samarpifying, offering you. At you. Tvayi Nyasyami. So beautifully he says, Sriman. So the Anvayam is Sriman Anukulaha Anyavarjitaha Akinchanaha Vishwasa Prarthana Purvam Atma Raksha Bharam Tvayi Nyasyami. Swami Desikan so brilliantly considers all the 5 angams of Bharasamarpanam, Prapatti, Sharanagati, Paranyasam. Here, what are the 5 angams? Anukulya Sankalpam, Pratikulya Varjanam, Karpanyam, Mahavishwasam, Goptritva Varnam. These are the 5 angam. Here, Anukulya Sankalpam, Pratikulya Varjanam, Karpanyam, Mahavishwasam and Goptritva Varnam is referred to in this beautiful small 2-line sloka. How Anukulya Sankalpam, I will explain the meaning of these 5, but however, how it is referred to in this slokam in such simple, beautiful manner by Kavi Simham is to be enjoyed. Anukulya Sankalpam is covered by the word Anukulaha. Nyasyami Akinchana Sriman Anukulaha. In this slokam. This refers to how he would perform always the acts, the deeds that will please the Lord. Anukulya Varjanam. Pratikulya Varjanam is Anyavarjitaha. Pratikulya Varjanam relates to the pledge taken by the one performing Prapatti that he will not do anything that would cause displeasure for the Lord, or he will do anything that would cause displeasure for the Lord. He will not engage in acts that would cause displeasure of the Lord, or he will not do anything that is prohibited in Shastras. Karpanyam is Akinchanaha, helpless, in a state of helplessness, utter humility, arising from the recognition that he is not qualified to perform any other means, any other upayam to reach the Lord, such as Bhakti Yogam. So that's talked about Karpanyam. Mahavishwasam, that's the absolute, unconditional, unshakable faith in Perumal. Here the word is Vishwasa. Vishwasa Prarthana Purvam, Vishwasa. Then Goptritra Varnam. Goptritra Varnam is the request of the Rakshanam of one with a humble prayer. Prarthana Purvam. That's the fifth Angam. So here we will enjoy what is the meaning of each one. Anukulya Sankalpam. That is a determined Sankalpam, a determined will on the part of the Prapannan, aspirant, Mumukshu, the one who performs Prapatti, to perform only such acts or deeds that would please the Lord. How will we know that what would please the Lord? By following Shastras, by following what the Acharya says, by following what the elders talk about, the erudite scholars mention. Otherwise, we would not know what would please the Lord. 2. Pratikulya Varjanam. That is to refrain from acts which would cause displeasure to Lord. So, நெய்யுண்ணோம் பாலுண்ணோம் நாட்காலை நீராடி மையிட்டெழுதோம் மலரிட்டு நாம் முடியோம் செய்யாதன செய்யோம் திக்குறளை சென்றோதோம். Andal so beautifully says the entire Tirupavai is Sharanagati Shastram. Here he says Tikkuralai Chendrodam, Sheyyadana Sheyyom. All that which should not be done, we would not do. Tikkuralai Chendrodam, we would not go spread rumors, gossip and talk ill about others to someone else. We would not do that. All these things are to be forbidden, or to be avoided, have to be abstained from. So that's Pratikulya Varjana. Karpanyam, the feeling of humility arising from the helplessness of the individual performing Prapatti in resorting to any other means, any other upayam, like Bhakti Yogam. Mahavishwasam is the absolute, unconditional, unshakable, unflinching faith in Perumal as the sole protector. How would we know that? How will we have this Mahavishwasam? Swami Desikan is going to explain about all these things. The entire Sharanagati Tattvam and the Ragasyatraya Mantram is packed in Srimad Ragasyatraya Saram. He has brilliantly written this magnum opus Srimad Ragasyatraya Saram, which needs to be learned from an Acharya in order to be crystal clear about our philosophy, about our unparalleled Sri Vaishnava Sri Sampradayam, and about Bharanyasam. So Mahavishwasam. Goptritra Varna is making a request, making a prayer to God, seeking His protection. So these are the 5 Angams, and these 5 Angams constitute the Atma Samarpanam, Bharanyasam, Prapatti, Sharanagati. All these are synonyms. And it is called also Atma Nikshepam. That is entrusting the burden of protecting the individual, protecting us to the care of God, leaving at His feet the entire protection of ours. So each one of these constitutes an important component of Sharanagati and has ethical significance. An individual who adopts the path of Sharanagati, Prapatti, for moksham is required to fulfill the 2 important conditions of eligibility. Besides the general qualifications such as earning for moksha, I desire for moksha, that is basically required, and basic knowledge of the nature of Prapatti, along with the capacity to follow. So the 2 special requirements, essential requirements required for Prapatti are 1. Akinchana, that is the absolute inability on the part of a Jivatma, on the individual, to adopt any other means for moksham, such as Bhakti Yogam, which is to be started aided with Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam. And 2. Ananya Gatitvam, that is not to aspire for any other goal other than moksham, and not looking for anyone else other than Sriman Narayana, because he moksham dadati iti mukunda. Mukunda alone can grant moksham. The second condition implies that the aspirant for moksha should not seek refuge in any other devatantaram other than the Supreme Being, Supreme Sriman Narayana, Sriyapati. For the obvious reason, moksha cannot be granted by any other deity. Both these conditions should be fulfilled by the mumukshu, by the one who is aspiring for moksham, by the aspirant to become eligible to adopt this prapatti as direct means to moksha. Both Yamunacharya and Ramanuja have emphasized this point by imposing on themselves these qualifications in their fervent, ardent prayer in their Sharanagati. Both in Stotra Ratnam by Alavandar as well as by Sri Bhashyakarar in Sharanagati Gadyam. In fact, Alavandar is beautifully invoking his Sharanagati in verse 22 in Stotra Ratnam. Na dharmanishtosmi, na cha atmavedi, na bhaktiman, tvacharanaravinde, akinchanaha, ananyagatihi, sharanya, tvapadamulam sharanam prapadye. Mahavishwasam is hinted so beautifully in this. He says, na dharma nishtosmi. In the slokam, he says, na dharma nishtosmi. Means, no karma yogam. Na cha atmavedi, no jnana yogam. And dharma, no jnana yogam. And na dharma nishtosmi, na bhaktiman, no bhakti yogam. I am not qualified to do anything, any of this. So, dharmanishtai not possible. Atmajnanam not possible. Bhakti yogam not possible. I'm not qualified to do any of these things because of my fickle mind, because of my condition, helplessness. Akinchanaha, utterly helpless. Ananyagatiya, other than you, there is nobody else who can take care of me. That explains the reason for his Sharanagati at the Lord's sacred feet as a direct consequence of these deficiencies. See, I remember when I was in my 5th standard going into the new school in a new city, Ambattur, there is an entrance test. And in that entrance test, it's a good school in which my father wanted to put me into the school. There is an entrance test. Because I came from a village, I didn't get the cutoff mark to get into that school. So what somebody recommended to my father, because he didn't get the cutoff mark, but there is a special way that he can get into by seeking the headmaster's mercy. So my father took me to the headmaster's house, and he was also an Iyengar, and he asked me to fall at his feet. So I fell down because my father said, and the headmaster heard everything, and he said, don't worry, if he is interested, I can put him into it. Don't bother about it. Tomorrow you come and register. Because the same way, there is a cutoff, there is a karma jnana bhakti yogam which need to be performed. Here is one who has not come to the cutoff, who is helpless, who does not have any other refuge other than the person who can give the seat of Sri Vaikuntham, and hence, because of his daya, because we fell at his feet, he will give. Alavandar, why did he say that? And Ramanuja said the same thing in Sharanagati Gadyam. Why did they say that? They all take the cue from Nammalvar's Thiruvaimazhi in Vanamamalai Pasuram, 5th 100, 5th 10, 7th decade, 1st Pasuram. And even Thondaradipudi Alvar says, Notra non bilen, nun arivilen. So, Ninkanum Baddhanallen. Notra non bilen, nun arivilen, Nammalvar says. Ninkanum Baddhanallen, Thondaradipudi Alvar says. So, Nammalvar addresses the Vanamamalai Pasuram and cries out, Oh Perimale, I have not gained any karma yogam or jnana yogam which are definitely the prerequisites to the development of Bhakti Yogam. I have devotion for you, but it is far from the kind that you are requiring for the practice of Bhakti Yoga. My Bhakti for you is of a restless and intensely passionate kind. That's why I have this twarai, I have this intense desire, urgency. So, Srivara Mangala Nagar Perimale, please save me. Take me into your fold as the one who needs protection. Nammalvar says, Agalagillen irayumendru alarmel bange urai marba. நிகரில் புகழாய் உலகம் மூன்றுடையாய் என்னை ஆழ்வானே, நிகரில் அமரர் முனிக்கடங்கள் விரும்பும் திருவேங்கடத்தானே, புகழொன்றில்லா அடியேன் உன் அடிக்கீழ் அமர்ந்து புகுந்தேனே, புகழொன்றில்லா அடியேன், அகிஞ்சனன், ஹெல்ப்லெஸ், உன் அடிக்கீழ் அமர்ந்து புகுந்தேனே, அனன்யகதித்வம், no other recourse other than your feet. So the basic tradition of Sharanagati as the easy to practice and a quick yielder of the fruit of moksha is in Lakshmi Tantram also, belonging to the Pancharatra text. So Nammalvar, Nathamuni, Alavandar, Ramanujan, Swami Desikan, until our Prakritam Acharyas, they follow this tradition. So Lakshmi Tantram mentions that Karmanyana Bhakti Yogam, first it starts listing and discards them in favor of Prapatti, Sharanagati, as Sigra Palapradam. Gitacharyan follows the same line of thought and gives at the end Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Aham tu Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami. Ma Suchaha, do not worry. So that's the greatness of the second slokam of Nyasa Dasakam, since it focuses on the 5 angams and the 2 adhigarams of Sharanagati. Akinchanyam Ananyagatitvam. In fact, the Anukulya Sankalpam, Pratikulya Varjanam, these are excellent things that we need to dwell upon, which have got tremendous significance in understanding the concept of Prapatti. So, Anukulya Sankalpam is saying that a determined Sankalpam and Pratikulya Varjanam, they have ethical significance. They involve right conduct by way of strictly obeying the commands of the Lord. The Sastrams, Lord's injunctions are in accordance with Shastras. Shruti Smriti Mamaiv Ajna, the Lord says. Shruti Smriti. Vedantams are his Ajna. We need to follow as per the Ajna. Trikala Sandhyavandanam is a must if you are born in that kulam which requires us to perform Trikala Sandhyavandanam. You cannot say, I have already performed Prapatti, hence I would not do Trikala Sandhyavandanam. No, that would completely antagonize, anger the Lord. He says, Mama Drohi, if somebody does not do Sandhyavandanam, he is my Drohi. He is a Nitya Tirthakaran. He has got asaucham, he is impure. He does not even qualify himself to enter into the temple or do Trivaradhana. The sacred Sastrams have prescribed the religious acts to be performed by an individual and prohibit certain activities from which he should refrain from. These are like the commands of the Lord. And by strictly following these dictums of the Shastra, one incurs the pleasure of the Lord. And by doing the prohibited acts, one incurs the displeasure. As the individual is absolutely subservient to the Supreme Lord, Shesha Bhutan to the Lord, it becomes imperative for him to please Perumal by doing the right thing and avoiding his displeasure by refraining from the forbidden, prohibited acts. Then the Karpanyam, humility, is an important mental state to be developed by the Mumukshu, by the aspirant for Moksham. If you say, I am not interested in all these things, not moksham, then you can close this audio and walk away. Enjoy life. Be born as a pig in the next birth. You will never, I don't know when we will ever get the human birth. And even if we get such an attitude, such a mindset, blessed by the Lord, blessed by the Acharyan, blessed by our own karma, punya karma, and to get such an opportunity again is a rarity. So it's actually an outcome of the two eligibility conditions, akinchanyam, ananyagatitvam. This karpanyam, utter humility, should come in. The feeling of utter helplessness in adopting any other means for moksha, and having the conviction that no one other than the Lord can protect a person. Tvai rakshati rakshaka ikkimanyahi, tvai cha arakshati rakshaka ikkimanyahi. If you have decided to protect me, nobody else can stop. If you have decided not to protect me, nobody else can protect me, says Swami DESIKA in Kamasika Ashtakam. Such an humble attitude on the part of an individual aspirant truly arouses the daya, the mercy, the compassion, the kripai of Perumal. He would say, he has reposed complete faith in me. I need to save him. How he came for Prahlada, that's the reason. The fourth angam, Mahavishwasam, unshakable faith. As the only savior is the most important part of Sharanagati. Such a conviction enables the mumukshu, the aspirant, to perform prapatti without entertaining an iota of doubt, even an inch of doubt regarding its effectiveness to secure moksham for him. Will he give? If I do this small act, will he be able to give? How can he give? How am I sure that he will give? All these things will not arise if we know his gunas, kalyana gunams. Saushilyam, vatsalyam, arjavam, mardavam, swamitvam, karunyam. So that's why Sri Bhashyakarar enlists the kalyana gunams beautifully. And is sarvajñatvam, sarvashaktitvam, sarveshwaratvam. Even after his performance, it helps him to live in peace. Even after performance of prapatti, this Mahavishwasam keeps us in peace. Appa, nime, not to worry. He will take care. It is his botheration now. It is his responsibility. That's all. When Kurattalwan's wife Andal told Kurattalwan that we have two sons, we need to think of their marriage, Kurattalwan said, go and tell Ranganathan. They are his sons, not ours. We have already placed them at their feet. It is he who needs to take care of them. That's the assurance, that's the conviction we need to have. So it helps us to live in peace for the rest of our life without entertaining any doubt regarding the attainment of moksha, regarding Perumal's kripai. The Sri Vaishnava Acharyas have laid great emphasis on the development of such a faith, as otherwise prapatti will be ineffective. Also, even after the prapatti performance, it slowly, gradually increases our feeling, confident and conviction about the Lord. The fifth angam, Goptrutva Varanam, implies that the individual who seeks liberation should make a formal prayer to grant him moksha, to grant the aspirant moksha. A question is whether such a request is to be made to God. He is omniscient, he is sarvajñan, all compassionate. By himself he should be able to know the mind of the aspirant and grant him what he yearns for, even without our asking for it. Should he not? Vedanta Desika takes the view that this is against the general principle that one grants the desired object only when it is asked for. If God does not bestow other human goals such as dharma, artham, kamam, aram, porul, inbam, unless they are requested for, moksha, the highest human goal, cannot also be granted to the aspirant unless the moksham is requested for. Because if we need something, we go and ask Perumal, and he gives. We ask for Aishwaryam, he gives. We ask for a progeny, he gives. So similarly, we need to ask for moksham, he has to grant. But why should we ask? We can keep quiet and he needs to give. If he does that, then he has to do for the entire humanity. Otherwise there will be partiality. Why did he give only to X and not to Y? Why did he give only to Madhavakkannan and not to Ramakrishna? If that's, then he is subject to criticisms. This is because God rules the universe in accordance with certain accepted principle, and he too should conform to it in the manner of offering protection to an individual. Otherwise, he would be open to the charge of discrimination. So in the case of granting moksham, which is the highest purushartham, ultimate goal, it becomes all the more necessary for us to simply make a request. Nothing wrong. Like yesterday I mentioned about the lift. The lift, you get into the lift and he is there as the Siddhopayam. He is ready to grant us moksham. He is always waiting. All that we need is to ask. That's all. And he would grant. Like Srikant Swami mentioned for this Margari Tingal, Narayanane Namakke Parai Tharuvan. Narayanane Parai Tharuvan is Siddhopayam. He is ever ready to grant moksham. Namakke Parai Tharuvan is Sadhyopayam, the one we ask and he would grant. Namakke, the one who has performed prapatti, would get. Only the person who performed prapatti will get. Prapannad anyesham na dishati mukundo nijapadam. Other than prapatti, Mukundan will not give moksham. Whether he is a bhakti yogam or prapatti, baranyasam, prapannan only gets moksham. So, these 5 requirements are essential for the angi, which is atma nikshepam, which is prapatti, which is act of surrendering the self, the jivatma, to the care of Perumal, is the principal component of prapatti. So we will enjoy more subsequently and dwell upon the depths of the individual slokam as well as glories of Paranyasa. Adiyan, Dhanyosmi.